The Reno City Council heard the bleak revenue projection for Reno's 2010-11 budget, a shortfall of $15.2 million due to a further drop in property and sales taxes and other revenue. Councilmember Jessica Sferrazza saw a clear solution to make up the shortfall and save jobs.
And even if you were to put in there where essentially that nobody was getting any kind of increases this year, if we just remain flat, to give us cushion, if you put in the step increases in there as well, if everyone just said we're going to keep our salaries just the way they are, there's no COLAs, and did that 5% reduction from January 1st, I think we could make it through without additional layoff.
Before agreeing with Sferrazza, Finance Director Mary Ann Peacock had presented a plan that calls for one-time savings options that would garner an additional $4.8 million. Together, the savings and employee concessions could make up the expected shortfall. Other council members agreed.
We are not playing a shell game of any kind. The money isn't there, and that's why I think it's very simple to say, although very accurate, Councilman Sferrazza came forward and said a 5% reduction makes the numbers. And that's what we're really looking at, making the numbers. When people ask, well, don't cut here, but find the money, it's, well, where do you find the money?
A 5% cut in pay retroactive to January and an agreement to pass on a cost of living increase or other benefits would end up being about an 8% cut and would have to be agreed upon by all of the employee bargaining units.
I really believe we should have a working group of all of our labor groups to go over these numbers. We could agree on these numbers, but if they don't agree, then they're not going to help us out and decide what should happen. We should say, here's our numbers, tell me why you disagree, what could happen. We come up with a solution, because what they're asking for is, well, if we do this, can you guarantee no layoffs? Can you do this? Can you do that? And I'm perfectly happy sitting down and saying, here's our guarantees if nothing happens.
I mean, I would encourage them to have the discussion about if we can go further concessions and hire the people back that we've laid off.
Absolutely.
I mean, as we look at this, I mean, to me, I've said it before, I would rather see all of our stations open and fully staffed and ready to serve the people. And so I mean, yeah, we're looking at this 15.2 figure for next year, but I mean, as we look at it and we start having those discussions, I mean, how do we get to where we're operating the city the way we need to be operating the city?
Both Councilmember Pierre Haschef and Mayor Bob Cashell expressed concerns that the city should have a cushion in the event that the state takes more money from the city to balance its budget when legislators meet for a special session. The city's hands are tied.
Back in the 60s or early 70s, our colleagues in this city and the county went to the legislature and said, take away taxing benefits from the cities and the counties and blah, 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 and they did that. Now, the counties have no authority to raise taxes or fees, so we're between a rock and a hard spot unless we're going to have a cake sale. I don't know where we're going to raise the money.
And express to your representatives in Carson City what's important to you. And is it okay that they continue to cut the local budgets to meet their budget? You need to express to them what's important to you and how they represent you as well.
The council approved moving ahead with one-time cuts, but asked that groups involved with some of the funds, the neighborhood advisory boards and special events committee, have some say. The council also directed staff to work with the bargaining units on proposed employee concessions that would save more than $10 million. The council put off a decision until the end of February to give the city manager the authority to reduce force as needed, in the event that all of the employee bargaining groups agree to the pay cuts, which will amount to about 1 furlough day a month.